Okay, we came into TA2, and I thought this was a really fun orienteering section. We got the maps right at the orienteering section, so I kind of had to figure out a strategy on the fly. What I look for is to kind of go in a logical loop, but figuring out which way to go is kind of determined by which way is it easy to navigate out versus coming back. So the choice was, are we going to go for 14 first or go for 13 first? Well, to me, 14 looked easier because we could angle up to this potential open area, and on this road, maybe catch this little hill right here to guide us right to 14. And then looking beyond that, doing a quick assessment, I said, well, that works well. Then we could hit the river and go up to 12 and keep going out and 13 would be easier to attack from this way than this way. Um, so the plan was set, and we took off from TA2 and did angle up. We didn't take an exact bearing, but took a good general bearing, and I wanted to err a little bit to the south because I wanted to hit the road south of this hill. And sure enough, we did find this open area, hit the road nicely, saw the hill, and just kind of followed the edge of this terrain right to where we saw the depression and saw the flag. So 14, bing, looked great, a lot of fun. Going up to 12 next, once again headed more in a westerly direction, a little bit north until we hit the river, and so we knew we would have to head north once we hit the river. Started walking up. We were on the west side of the river, about 5 feet away from it, scanning. We actually walked right by 12 because it was about 20 feet off the river instead of right on the river. But quickly realized when we got up here that the ridge had faded away from us, and found a couple other guys that hadn't found 12 yet as well, and decided to go back and check the steep ridge, and sure enough, there it was. Headed off to 10, we had another great catch feature. I like to orienteer not necessarily right to the flag, but to good terrain catch features all along the way, so you know where you are as you're going. So if I went straight west, I knew I would catch this steep hill, and I could kind of follow the steep hill, and it would eventually turn west. And then I could follow it, and when it turned south again, I would be at the base of the hill that 10 was on. So that worked out beautifully as well. We went. I think I had to use all four hands to get to the top of this hill.
I think so too.
And then leaving here, headed out southwest, caught the edge of this hill, went down into the depression, and I think we were back on all fours coming up to number 9 as well.
Yes, we were.
So number 9, you had a pretty view. You could see the lighthouse and Lake Michigan, and just bombed down the hill afterwards and headed straight for the lighthouse. Then it was a matter of working your way back. Coming back after we crossed the road and headed in towards 11, this area got really confusing. There was a lot going on, and I think instead of heading up through the middle portion, we headed up through this reentrant, and we didn't see any private property markings, so that didn't help us at all, and we ended up missing 11. But when we came to a really flat area, I knew we were beyond where we needed to be. I kind of found a little hill. I thought it might be this hill, but it ended up probably being this hill. And knew from that little hill we needed to come back to the steepness. We came back, and as we were coming back, before I saw the flag, I saw this nice little dip, and looked up, and actually at that point there were a couple other guys, and we noticed there were trees that were marked, and we figured that might be the property line, and so then we got to 11. 11 to 13 was kind of fun too. We knew if we headed straight east, we would hit the river at a point that would be a little bit north of 13. So we hit the river, crossed it, went up the steep embankment, and we actually came up to this hilltop, checked it real quick to make sure that wasn't the flag, saw this hilltop, came straight south, and sure enough, there was the flag. And then back to the TA once again, heading straight east. And once we crossed over this road, there were some power lines that we recognized from when we went out earlier. We kind of followed those up and then angled back in. And I'll tell you what, that was a beautiful but challenging on the legs section. But really liked the navigation and the terrain. Thanks, Mark.